welcome back to the channel. Bit of a different one for me today, but what I wanted to run through is a topic around the easier way to lose body fat in 2026, which you might not have tried yet. Now, when clients come to me wanting to lose weight, the problems are always the same. They've lost weight before really quickly, but they've gained it back straight away. And that's usually down to one reason. Calories start too low and they can't sustain that for a long period of time. And when they get to the end of their fat loss phase, whether it just be for a certain date or a holiday or a wedding, etc., they think that in order to actually keep that level of body fat, they need to maintain themselves on what got them there to the finish line. And that's not the case, but that's a topic for another video. Now, I'm sure you might have done the same thing, slashing your calories super low, eating the same calories every single day, but I'm here to tell you there's another way. By using this method, you're actually gonna be able to eat more food across the week, which is gonna increase your energy and increase the likelihood of you retaining your muscle mass when dieting, so you don't look skinny towards the end. I use this exact method myself to lose 26 kilos and get shredded, and since then, we've used it to help hundreds of men time and time again who thought they tried it all, finally get the breakthrough they deserved, and losing that weight to get in the best shape of their life. So we'll run through an example just so you can understand in terms of how you can actually do this yourself. So, step one, we're gonna multiply your body weight in pounds by 11. That's gonna give you your daily calories. And for this example, we'll use 200 pounds as a nice number. So 200 pounds times 11 equals 2,200 calories. Now this is where you would usually start your journey, but that's not the case. We go to step two. So instead, what we're gonna do from there is we're actually gonna multiply that 2,200 calories by 7. And that's then gonna give us 15,400 calories, and that's your weekly calories, okay? So we've times the daily calories by the number of days in the week, obviously, and that gives us that figure, okay? Then from that point, you need to decide how many days of the week you're gonna be going to the gym. Most of the guys I coach and work with are going anywhere between 3 and 4, but make sure you decide in terms of how many days you're going to be lifting weights per week, okay? Weights only. And then step 4 is time for you to play around with your calories. So you've got your weekly calorie total, and for this example, let's say I was the 200-pound guy. Instead of having 2,200 on every single day of the week, I want a little bit more food. I'm in the gym 4 days a week. I'm gonna actually have 2,500 calories on those weight training session days. And those extra calories, they probably come in the form of carbohydrates. I'd put them in my pre and post-workout meal just before I'm lifting those weights to increase my energy, to improve my performance, to make sure I can progress, and to aid with the recovery after the session to replenish those glycogen stores which have been depleted from training. Now, we're on step 5. Now we need to work out your rest day calories. So what we do from there is we get the 2,500 calories, we multiply that by 4, which is the amount of sessions we're gonna be training per week. That then gives us 10,000 calories. Remember, we had our weekly calorie total of 15,400. We're then gonna subtract 10,000, which is the weekly calories from the training days, and that's then gonna give us 5,400. So what we do from there is we then divide the 5,400 by the remaining days, which are your rest days, which is 3. And that then gives us 1,800 calories on the rest days. Now I know what you're thinking, but if I had the same calories every single day, I'd be eating more food. And yes, you would, that is correct. And 1,800 is lower. But on your rest days, you're doing exactly that. You're resting, you're not moving as much, you're not exerting as much energy. So the need for energy isn't there. So when you're in a deficit and you're trying to drive fat loss, you can actually push a little bit harder on your rest days and it won't actually be as challenging for you. So although the weekly calories are the same, we're just being that little bit smarter with how we split our calories up. And I've found this work really well psychologically, especially when going through the deeper depths of a fat loss phase. It's almost like you can look forward to a higher calorie day of food. And again, when it comes to dieting, and if you're eating the same calories every single day, and you get deeper and deeper through fat loss and your calories start to go lower and lower and lower, the likelihood of you adhering to that plan becomes lower, lower, and lower. So by protecting our calories on a training day, we can actually improve the psychological impacts of fat loss because we almost look forward to those days. We have those higher calorie days and it's not just low every single day. And that's the common mistake people make. And that's where everyone's always come to. When everyone comes to me and like, oh, I've got different foods for different days. Yeah, because everybody notoriously just thinks they need to eat the same calories every single day to lose body fat. And as we said, the weekly calories are the same. We're just thinking a little bit more strategically when it comes to actually maintaining our strength and continuing progressions where possible in the gym. And that is the biggest indicator when it comes to retaining muscle mass on a fat loss phase. If your strength is going down and your energy is low and your lifts are plummeting and you can't make progressions as much, you're going to be running the risk of losing muscle mass. And then when you get to that lean spot, if you actually do get there and stick to that point and hold yourself accountable, you may just look skinny and it'd be like, you might be a little bit disappointed with the results. Because the goal is fat loss. If you have 30, 40 kilos to lose, the goal is weight loss. There's a big difference between fat loss and weight loss. If you're an overweight individual and you have a lot of body fat to lose, I don't want you to think about muscle. You just need to shift the weight and think about the health consequences if that continues. The diabetes, the cardiovascular disease, the heart attacks, the strokes. If you're someone who wants to get leaner for summer, lean for a holiday, then your goal is fat loss. And fat loss is about retaining the muscle mass and pulling the body fat off simultaneously. And that's what creates that shredded beach holiday look. Hopefully this all makes sense. I know I threw quite a lot of numbers at you, but hopefully you made some notes and wrote them down. This is a different way than you might have known fat loss, because all we're taught is eat that amount of calories every single day. But there is a different way. And I think this way, based on the results we've achieved inside the program, has proved very, very beneficial from when people have come to me trying and failing and they thought that they just can't lose body fat, to them reaching levels which they've never ever seen themselves before in their lives. So this method might be the difference when it comes to you losing body fat this year. So if you found this video useful, of course, drop a like and please subscribe. And any other topics you'd like me to dive into, I will happily go through them. And if you have any more questions about this topic and how to set this approach up, if you are getting stuck, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you in the next one.